Good evening. So let's start our class for today. It's going to be a very short class. Meanwhile, tomorrow we'll be spending about 2 hours into combining the export business development and investment analysis combo. So instead of having two separate classes for 2 separate days, we are going to have everything together tomorrow. So for today, we are looking at export financing. Export financing, how do you finance your export contracts? When you have an export contract of, say, let's say maybe it's $10,000 or $20,000 or $30,000 or $50,000, what are the things that you have to look out for? And what are the things that you have to have? So in this class, I'm going to highlight some of the things you are supposed to have, some things that you might think maybe they are valuable, maybe they are needed, but they are not. And the really important things that you need to understand in financing your export contract in Nigeria. So previously I've spoken about how a buyer or an importer will pay you for your export contract for the job that you are doing. So it's either the buyer is paying you advance, is paying you an advance payment, like maybe 30% advance, 40% advance, or 50% advance, or maybe he's giving you a letter of credit. So now on this slide, I mentioned documentary draft. Documentary draft is when the buyer is telling you that instead of sending him the bill of lading and all the export documents that he will use to clear the container over there at the end of the day when the shipment has been made, instead of you sending it to him, you send it to the bank. So that instead of him just getting access or gaining access to the documents to clear the container, it will be that after you have been paid, that is when the container the documents will be released to him by his own bank. So the documents will be going to his bank instead of him directly. So that is documentary draft. So the open account, I already explained that the open account works is just like you and the buyer coming together, and the buyer is just telling you that, make this shipment for me, send so commodity at so price, so that you have a total export value of maybe $50,000 there. When you are done with the shipment, when it gets to his own port, then you get payment. So that's open account. He's not paying you. He's not issuing a letter of credit for you. It's just an export contract that's between both of you. And if it's a documentary draft, it's better than an open account, but it's not as strong as a letter of credit, because the way it works is just that you have to send the document of the shipment and the bill of lading to his bank, so that when he pays you, his bank will now release those documents to him for him to be able to clear the container that you have sent, So this way you can understand the most valuable ways for payments to come in. That is, you can look at it and say that, okay, which one, if you're an investor, for instance, which one are you going to bank on? Is it the open account? Is it the documentary draft or the letter of credit? Because if you look at it, the open account looks very easy for the buyer because he's not paying, he's not putting anything that makes him to be at risk. The whole risk is on you. You are the one who is putting in your money 100% into making the export happen. And the documentary draft too is still the same, but just that by the time the container gets to his port, he doesn't have the document to clear the container, except he pays you and he can get the documents from his bank. Meanwhile, for letter of credit, he's also not paying you cash, but you have something, an instrument that the bank respects, that they can actually use to finance the contract on your behalf. So if you look at all those, you look at it that having a letter of credit and you are discussing with a bank is better than going to the bank on open account. So if you want to finance your export contract, one very important thing that you must have, very, very important, is your commercial invoice. It's your commercial invoice. That's the invoice that where you list everything you are sending to the buyer, the price that the buyer is supposed to pay, and the total amount of money that the buyer is supposed to pay you, and the bank account, that is your bank details, where the money is going to. So if you are talking to a banker, for instance, that you want them to finance, you want this bank to finance your export contract, then when they are now looking through your commercial invoice, they can't find the name of your bank on the commercial invoice. You know, that's like two different things. So they have to be able to see that, okay, if they finance this contract, the money that will be paid is coming into our bank, that is the bank, the export proceed account that you have with them, where the money will come in at the end of the day. So for you, apart from the commercial invoice, you need your export contract, because that's where all the terms and conditions of the trade of whatever you guys have discussed, that's where they'll have to read and understand everything. And letter of credit, if the buyer has issued a letter of credit to you, you should also have that letter of credit with you, combined with the commercial invoice and the export contract. Now, why I said good statement of account is that supposing you need financing for your export contract, but you already maintain a very good statement of account with your bank or any particular bank, it can also help you in the long run. It can help you in getting good financing for your contract. It can also help you. Then you might need collaterals. And when you are doing this kind of financing, collaterals are mostly real estate. They are mostly real estate. And your bank might be requesting for real estate that is in an urban area like Lagos, you know. So if you have any piece of real estate that has a CFO, you have the documentation done and all that, it's very easy for you to, you know, to raise financing for your export contract. So, but should in case, if you are in the position whereby you don't have that real estate and all that as collateral, then what can you do? You can use private investors. Private investors, you can make use of your friends, of your family, you know. So just like the normal routine of when you are trying to raise finance for any business, or when you are trying to raise capital. So you can go through that route also by showing them the export contract, let them see the commercial invoice, let them see all the documents pertaining to the trade happening. So, and you can now promise them a return on their investment. Like, okay, after I'm able to complete this contract, this is the return, this is what I'll give you as an interest on the money that you've been able to raise for us to make this happen. So another one you can look at is the trade finance institutions around. There are trade finance institutions around. You can see like different adverts online that will say, okay, they finance purchase orders, they finance export contracts and all that. So they can help you with your financing. The only thing they will just require from you is your commercial invoice, your export contract. If you have a letter of credit, it's okay. So those two things are the things that will be required from you. So now, even if you don't have collateral like real estate and you don't have a letter of credit, it doesn't mean your commercial bank cannot help you out. it doesn't mean they can't help you out. So if you have been maintaining accounts with them, like maybe for a while, for some time, then why not? You can talk to them about it and meet with the bank manager, present your talk to your account officer or the bank manager, present the documents, let them go through. They will send it to their export department. The head of the export, around that area will look into it, and they will call you, either set up a meeting on your behalf so that they can discuss about it, where they will ask you different questions and all that. So they'll use that to see, okay, what can they do? What would they be needing for them to be able to finance this money on your behalf, the contract. Then you can also talk to B2B platforms. So B2B platforms like AliExpress, Alibaba, TradeKey, and others also finance export contracts. We also have B2B platforms in Nigeria, like Cocodeal, like Traders of Africa. So we have those ones also in Nigeria that can help you finance your export contract. So as an exporter, you would have registered with Nigeria Export Promotion Council. You can also go to the council and request for finance. So it is all by showing them the documents that I listed on this slide, which is your commercial invoice. Very important, your export contract. If you have a letter of credit, that gives you a very solid position to approach anyone for financing. And that's why I was saying it yesterday, that it's very good if you always push for a letter of credit from your buyer. Just let them know that you don't mind paying a 2% performance bond upfront, just to show how serious you are in the game. So at the end of the day, if you have that letter of credit, it will help you a lot in getting your commercial bank to finance your export contract. So now, Nigeria, I mentioned Nexen Bank. Nexen Bank means Nigeria Export Import Bank. They are like, this export financing is really their job. That's like what they are created for in Nigeria. Although a lot of exporters don't really know about them, some don't have an account with them. So just like the commercial bank, you have to open an account with them, operate an account with them, then you can present your documents to them for a facility. They call it facility, so export financing facilities. So they have different facilities, like different options that you can use to make your export dream come true. So for instance, if you are into production, if you're into manufacturing, you have something you are producing on your own, something you are manufacturing on your own, Nexen Bank is a very good option for you to actually talk to them and let them give you the facility that will be better for whatever that you are doing, whatever that you are producing, so that it can give you like an international window to export what you are producing, So that's why you have Nexen Bank. So this is Nexen Bank's work. Their website is straightforward. Just go to Google and put in Nexen Bank. So when you get to the website, there's a whole load of information on that website that even in the next 20-30 minutes, you can still be reading different facilities that you can get from Nexen Bank. So you can now use this to access and select that, okay, maybe I can work with this then. As soon as you are able, you open an account with them, that is, you start a relationship with them, just like you do with other commercial banks. So if you're also wondering like what commercial banks you can work with EcoBank, you can work with UBA, you can work with Zenith Bank, you can work with FCMB, you can work with Stanbic also when it comes to your export financing. Whether it is agricultural, commodity, whether it is metals, you can work with those banks, and you can work with Nexen Bank also. So I okay, so shouldn't, let's say you have everything, but you don't have the letter of credit and you don't have real estate option that you can use as collateral. What other things can you do? And that's where the concept of, or the idea of collateralized commodity comes in. So the way this works, I already mentioned this collateralized commodity in our previous classes. The way it works is you are able to finance parts of the finance, part of the sum, the total sum that you need to buy or to purchase commodities. So let's say what you are exporting is cashew nuts and you need 1 million naira, or you need 10 million naira, or you need 100 million naira to buy these nuts to fulfill the terms of trade. If all you can buy is, let's say, 5% or 10% of that commodity. So you can have an agreement with your bank that says that the value of this contract is 100 million, but I have 5 million that I can use to buy commodity. So whenever I buy commodity that is worth 5 million, you match it with maybe 10 million naira and I'll export that. So once I export that, I can buy another 5 million naira commodity again. You know, you match it with so amount, I send it over. So this is like an agreement whereby they will have to bring like a third party agent. The third party agent comes in, look into your warehouse. They will be the one to certify and look at how creditworthy what you want to do or what you are doing is. So they will look into your warehouse, look into the commodity you have. Like you said, you already have the weight, make sure that, okay, it's actually what you said you can do and what is required in the export contract that you want to work on. So, and after which, if you have that commodity in your warehouse, so they will use that as capital. Like you are buying part of the commodity you need to export as capital to leverage to get more commodity, to get more finance, more volume of that commodity. So some other people can even be able to give you everything you need. Like, okay, if you can buy 30% of the commodity, we'll give you the remaining 70%. So some can split it and say, okay, instead of us giving you that 70% at once, you know, hitting your account at once, like maybe that 70% is 70 million naira, for instance. So they might look at it that, okay, if you have that 70 million naira in your account at once, you might be tempted, you know, to maybe spend the money to maybe chill, relax, and all that. So instead of them paying you that 70 million naira at once, they might tell you that, okay, but this 70 million, since maybe to fulfill one container of that commodity, maybe all you need out of that 70 million is 10 million. So they will tell you, okay, we'll be releasing the money batch by batch. When you complete this container, we'll release the next one. You complete that container, we'll release the next one. You complete. So that's the way if they agree to work with you in that manner. So this is really dependent on your relationship with your account officer, with your bank manager and your bank, because sometimes there might be better information that your bank have for export financing that it's your account officer that will now have to explain it to you or to let you know what you can get. So now I also put in warehouse receipt management system where, because let's say you have a warehouse that you are already operating, it's easy for you to use your warehouse receipt to raise funding, to raise finance. So let's say the commodity in your warehouse is worth 100 million naira, is worth 50 million or a billion naira, 10 million naira. It's easy for you to use that with your bank and say, okay, this is the commodity that I have, and you need funds to run this, run that. So they might give you like a percentage of what the warehouse receipt is worth, a percentage like 70–80%. Why they know that by the time maybe you make sale of the commodity in the warehouse and all that, they will get their money back. So another way is to partner with farmers and merchants. So this is easily done when you travel to the north, you travel to Kaduna, you travel to Kano to talk to them about the commodity that you want to export. So in some countries like Cameroon, for instance, when you want to fall wood in Cameroon, you can't fall without first paying the person that you are working with. And if you are to partner with the locals, you have to show them the letter of credit. It's when they see the letter of credit, they know that, oh, okay, we can work together or we can do this together. So if you also do that for our local merchants and farmers down here, it might be something that they will be interested in. But because of what has happened to a lot of people, what the disappointment and all that, like some of it is also some of the things that we have as challenges right now. So like if to get commodity even within Nigeria down to our warehouse, we are having doubt. We don't want to pay the merchant. The merchant is having doubt that if the commodity reaches our warehouse, we also might not pay. So all these discrepancies are out there. So if you can go to Kano, go to Kaduna, Kogi, Niger, Abuja, go to all these farmers, go to all these markets, the places that are still free of banditry and all that. You can strike a deal with them. They can even move the commodity down here, and all you have to do is arrange logistics, transportation, sort out the trucks, the containers, or whatever they'll move the commodity. So, and for some, you might just have to do a down payment. Let's say like, okay, you want to move something about 30–35 tons of commodity, which is about a truck, and you only have to pay about 30% of the fee. Then when you bring it down to Lagos and you also get paid, then you balance them on the 70%. This works better when you have like a local supply contract. When you have a local supply contract, so you balance them. So, but if it's going to be export and you know that maybe you are promising, you usually promise them maybe 72 hours for them to receive payments. Then this time around, they might need to see additional documentation, you might need to give them additional contracts for them to be able to know that if they are giving you the commodity and you are taking it all the way to Lagos to export, that they are going to get their payment back at the end of the day. So, and your bank can also provide you with blocked funds, with letter of good standing that you can use to also convince these merchants or these farmers that, not to worry, your money is coming out once we get it, once we are paid. But using your warehouse as for collateralized commodity is a strategy that is very important. That is a very good strategy, and it won't really give you headache. So there are several peace of mind attached to it. So should in case you don't have a warehouse, you do not have a warehouse, and you don't have collateral and all that. So what can you do? One of the things you can do is to partner with someone, collaborate with someone who has a warehouse. So for instance, our warehouse is in Songwater. We need several warehouses in Odomosho. Yes, we have large areas of plantation around there, but we need our own warehouse and we don't have. So what we are doing is to partner and collaborate with other people. So maybe somewhere now we can have like 2 containers. We have a place where that can only contain 2 containers of nuts. We have another place where, okay, we can do about 5 containers of nuts. So by the time we are bringing all the warehouse that we can use together, maybe we are having about 10 containers. So when you look at that, but any of those containers, we don't own it. We are not the owners of the warehouse rather. So sometimes you can work that way. So it's not a must that you have a warehouse of your own. All you just have to do is to make sure you develop your receipts, develop your way bill and all that, so that if you have a supplier come, you can draft a proper agreement and issue a warehouse receipt and all that. So there can be proper documentation even if you have to now approach the bank for financing. So export financing is easy when you have a letter of credit. It's less easier when you have a documentary draft, and least easy when it's running on an open account. Because now if you look at that open account, the importer, that is the buyer, is 100% secured. But you, the exporter, you are open at risk 100%. So these are the thoughts that has to play on your mind when you are talking to the buyer or the importer, when you are trying to put together the contract or the pricing or the negotiation and all that. So you have to put all these things in check to know that you can get your finance done. So a contract like this year, for instance, we have several contracts that we actually canceled like this year because of when the kidnapping was a lot in Kaduna. Some of those contracts we already arranged financing through collateralized commodity. Some we already arranged financing through the commercial bank, raising the amount of money that we need to execute the contract. So how do you make all these things happen easily? So sometimes you have to just open an account with your bank, because you can't say that you are trying to raise finance for export, but then it's when you have an export contract, that's when you want to run off to your bank. No, you should have opened that account by now. Like those banks I mentioned, approach them, go to an account officer or one of the marketers, let them know what you are doing, that you are into export, you export commodities, and you want to open this account because of the business, because of export, which means you'll be opening NXP, you'll be needing an export proceed account, a USD account. So they are going to open all those accounts for you, your exports and your Naira account, so that whenever you want to export and all that, you'll be expecting the proceed in your dollar account, which you are going to put on the commercial invoice that you are sending to your buyer, to the importer. So by the time you are now approaching, meanwhile, that your Naira account, you operate it. You can operate it. You can be doing maybe 5 million naira in a month. You can be doing 10 million naira in a month. Whatever amount that you can do with that account, it will also help you, in the way the bank will now be able to help you out when you need financing for your contract, So these are some of the things that you must make sure that you have in mind and you hold in mind when you are trying to get financing. There is no easy route towards getting your export financing done. The only easier institution in Nigeria that I know that you can use, you can approach, you can talk to them, you can select different kind of trade finance facilities, the Nexen Bank that I mentioned. So maybe after this class, you can go to Nexen Bank's website, read through all the facilities that they have, look into how you can start doing business with them, so that by the time you get this export contract that you want to work with, by the time you have this contract that you need to finance, you can approach them and talk to them about the business. So I'm going to take one or two questions before we come to the end of this class. So do you have anyone with any question, please? Like there are some startups. There are some startups in Lagos. In Lagos that there are some startups in Lagos that what they do is they have platforms whereby you can even get financing for your trade. What they do it like is like a crowdsourcing thing. So you post your commodity and all that, and they'll get people to actually finance it for you. They get people to finance it for you. So I think it's Africa Trade Invest. So you can check out for Africa Trade Invest. Send them an email. Let them know maybe like this is the contract you have. This is what you need financing for. So whatever they need to request from you, they are going to let you know and give you answers to that. Okay, so any question?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Yes, sir. My name is Daniel, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, I missed yesterday class. So please, can you send the notes? Because you only send the video.
Okay, yeah, I'll send it. I send the link, but I'll send the notes after this class now.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes,
thank
you. Yes. Okay, so everyone who is on the group, I'm also available when you actually have a contract to work with and you need financing. Please let me know so that if there's any way I can help you, we can work together on that. Then I want to quickly talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow, instead of just one class that we are supposed to have, we are going to be having two classes tomorrow. And I'm also going to introduce us to our new platform. There's a new platform we just created, cashewtrade.ng, for the coming cashew nuts export season. So I'm believing that everyone will be able to take opportunity of that season also. So I'm going to send this class and the material also to the WhatsApp group. Then tomorrow, I think we'll start by 3. It might be 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Or maybe 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. But I'm looking towards spending 2 hours with us tomorrow because it's our final class. So we'll make it worthwhile. So we'll be able to also cover maybe some questions that we've not been able to cover for some time now. Yes, Mr. Emmanuel.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, I'm Emmanuel by name. There's something I wanted to ask concerning the financing.
Okay, please go ahead.
Is there a general percentage on the, let's say, if a bank assisted in the financing, is there any percentage that they will request for compared to every other group like B2B platform that would finance? Are there anyone that has how would I put it now? Are there anyone that has a favorable charge?
Okay.
Or a favorable profit sharing? Okay. Comparing all of them.
Due to the way things are working in Nigeria right now, Nexen Bank, because they are actually created for this export-import financing. That's what they are created for. Nexen Bank has the most favorable, followed by our commercial bank. But the commercial banks too is a single-digit interest rate they are going to give you. It's a single-digit interest rate they are going to give you. And the highest that I've seen for now is still about 11%. It's still about 11%, while others will give you maybe 9, 8% interest rate. So even the Nexen Bank is a single-digit interest rate that they are going to give you on the financing. So It's just really about qualifying for it. So even before, if you already have a bank you are working with another, you can just let your account officer know what's happening and ask questions like, okay, so if you have an LC, for maybe $10,000 and they are able to raise you, how much are they going to charge for interest and all that? So you see, they'll give you their interest rate, their interest charge, then you can use that to compare and contrast. But usually for Nexen Bank, it's single digit that they will give you, and some commercial banks too, but I don't know of others. But the commercial bank I use, like Echo Bank, for instance, is single digit, and Zenith Bank also is very good. So relatively, because people don't really know how to access Nexen Bank, because it's not a bank that you see their branches everywhere on every street. So the commercial banks too are very okay and very fine. So it might just take time, like it might take you maybe a few weeks to get everything sorted out with them. Maybe they can be slow. If you have a letter of credit, they might be slow on trying to confirm the letter of credit, trying to do some works on it, and all that. So, but if you are also trying to, dedicated to the process and all that, at the end of the day, you get what you are searching for from them. You get it from them. So, is there another question?
Yeah, sorry, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, comparing them to friends, like like you are already experienced. If you are the friends that you might have done deals with at their own percentage higher than the commercial bank.
Yes, when you are doing business with friends and private investors now, you need to look into, because they can give you all the money you need. A friend can finance your business like 100% and say, okay, but you give me 50% of interest on the money. So, like, okay, for instance, I have a friend of mine, he knows I'm into exports. He chatted me like maybe 2 or 3 months ago. He said he wants to invest into exports. So I said, I just responded to him and said, oh, if I have any contract, I'll let you know. If I have anything going, I'll let you know. Later, maybe a few months after, like a month after we chatted again, and we were talking about, oh, like if there's another season, cashew nut season, maybe we'll be needing money, we'll need more money to buy, to export and all that. And he was okay. I think he was telling the final thing he said is looking into maybe something he can be getting 50% return on his investment, like maybe in 6 months. So if you look at it, it's very high compared to the commercial bank. So if you look at all these forex things that people used to do around, all this cryptocurrency, the kind of interest rates they used to promise people, like 100%, like 200%, 50% in a month, 20%. So people used to have that idea too when you want to raise money from them for your business, for your own personal business. So you have to watch out for things like that. Don't over promise what you cannot deliver. So you also have to look at it that, okay, if this is the contract, this is how much you are buying the commodities and all that. Friend, private investors, they will go through your contract. They will look at how much you are making, how much are you spending. So they might tell you that your profit will be shared 50-50. Or someone can even tell you that they will take 60 or 70% of your profit when you take the remaining, because they are the one that gave you the whole money that you need to execute the contract. So, a commercial bank cannot do that. Nexen Bank cannot do that. They will just say, okay, we are giving you this money to finance the contract. You return that money that they've given you with maybe 9% interest, with maybe 11% interest, so that is actually far better than when you have to share the profit 50. So those are things that you have to look at. And for private investors also, they want to charge more because that's their own job. They invest to get interest, to get more money. They are trying to make sure that the 1 million naira they have now becomes 2 million naira maybe by the end of the month. So they are looking for something to invest in and get ample returns. So that's the way they work. So you need to understand both sides. So commercial banks, Nexen Bank is far better than friends, except family, except maybe your family that just wants to give you the money, or maybe that just wants to help you and say that it's not a must that you return the money. That is not a must that you return the money, except that. But if it's not that, then they are getting return on what they are financing you, on what they are giving you. I hope that answers I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, yes, sir. It answers.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm going to send the recording and the material to the group. Thank you very much, everyone. So tomorrow we'll have a lot of time to discuss on everything that we've done for the past 7 days. Thank you.